Morning, everyone. Here we are again with another week of our online sessions. Today, as usual, in the beginning of each week, we're going to be back with the Global English book. So, prepare yourselves and let's start. Concerning the objectives today, today's lesson is going to be dedicated to solve review questions. We've finished 5 units so far in Global English, and by the end of each two, we have review questions. So today, we will solve each one of these. To start with the first one, it's for Unit 8 for page 71. Then, the review questions for Unit 9 and 10 in pages 86 and 87. And finally, we're going to have to solve the review questions for Unit 11 and 12 in pages 102 and 103. As the beginning, we're going to start with page 71. You might be wondering, why are we starting with 71 while we have page 70? Well, page 70 is all about Unit 7, not Unit 8. All the exercises are not for Unit 8. And you remember that we finished Unit 7 in Term 2. So Unit 8 is the first unit that we started with. So, to start with the first exercise, it's about glucose. We have many blanks and we need to fill them with the right present passive. You remember active and passive, the 4 steps that we always had. Here we only need to put the verb in right form. So you remember that when we said present, we mean 3 auxiliary verbs: is, are, and rarely am. So we need to choose which one to put before the verb, then we will do the verb, or we will change the verb to past participle. So the first one, glucose is produced by carbon dioxide. So what does that mean? Why did we put is produced? Because glucose is one. We cannot say are produced. Number 2, it dash by cells for aerobic respiration. We have the verb need. So can we say it are needed? Of course not. We will say it is needed. For number 3, in this process, glucose and oxygen, we have 2 of them here. So are changed. Then for the last one, glucose is not produced at night. Again, glucose is 1. Here are the answers for you. Continuing with the same page for exercise 6. In this exercise, we are required to change these sentences from active to passive. You remember the 4 steps that we had, starting with deleting the subject, taking the object to the beginning, then using a suitable auxiliary verb, and finally having the verb in past participle. Remember that because the tense here is present perfect, we have only 2 auxiliary verbs to choose, either has or have. Has for singular, have for plural. So we have also a key or magic word as we named it, and it's been. So you can see the solving for the first one. My watch has been found. We deleted someone, which is the subject, then we took the object, my watch, to the beginning, and we used has because watch is singular, and we added been, and the verb is found, already past participle. Moving on to the other 4 sentences, I will let you solve them. Stop the video right now and solve them, and then I will give you the answers with brief explanation. For number 2, it's going to be someone has left a bag in the classroom. You remember, in the classroom is a prepositional phrase, so we're not required to do anything about it. We just keep it in the end of it. So the answer will be a bag has been left in the classroom. See, bag is the object, that's why it came to the beginning. Has been left, because again it's singular. For number 3, someone hasn't turned the lights off. The solution would be the lights haven't been turned off. Number 4, someone has tidied my room. My room has been tidied. You see, so far, all the objects are singular. That's why we're putting has, not have. If it was, for example, someone has tidied my rooms, so in this case would have been my rooms have been tidied. Finally, people have told me that I look like my father. So, where is the object here? Me. So, me becomes I because I cannot say me have been told. So, it will be I have been told that I look like my father. This exercise is identical to the other one, with only one difference here, is using by in the end of the sentence. You know that we delete the subject. So sometimes we put the subject in the end of the sentence by using the word by. So it was done by someone. You see, here we will have the first sentence. My sports teacher has asked me to play for the team. So I will say, I have been asked to play for the team. By who? By my sports teacher. It was the subject that we already deleted. Number 2, my aunt has given me a gold necklace. So we will say, I have been given a gold necklace by my aunt, which is the subject that we already deleted. All the sentences continue in the same way. The Olympic Games have been watched. You see, why did we use have? Because Olympic Games, plural here. The book has been made into a film by a famous director. Then the head teacher has asked us to sing in assembly will be, we have been asked to sing in assembly by the head teacher. Moving on to page 86, to solve two exercises, vocabulary ones. Start with the first one. It's labeled the bridges. We had the types of bridges earlier in Unit 9, so we're going to label them according to the words given below. So the answers would be A, viaduct, B, drawbridge, C, footbridge, because we see only people moving here, D, suspension bridge, and finally E, aqueduct. For exercise 2, complete the words, then match them with the diagrams. We have words here or shapes, but there are some blanks in their spellings, so we need to complete them. First one is going to be a cone, then a cube, then a cylinder. You can continue all of them by copying these answers here. Also in Unit 9, we learned how to put prepositions in the beginning of our sentences to make them as clear as possible and to avoid confusion for the reader or listener. So here we're given prompts and we have to make full questions. We also have the answers given by the book. So I'll give you the answers here and we will explain them. So in which city is the White House? Why did I say in which city? Because we are asking about a place. On which island is Mount Fuji? I can say in which also, it wouldn't be wrong. 3. Over which river is Tower Bridge? Why did we use over? First, because it's given in the answer that it's over the Thames in London. And second, because a bridge is over the river, not in the river. It would be wrong to use in or on. 4. From which city can you see the volcano Popocatépetl? 5. From which Italian city did Marco Polo sail in 1271? And finally, into which ocean does the Amazon River flow? You can depend on the answers to know the solutions of this exercise. For this exercise, you would notice it's also about active and passive. So we need to do the underlined sentences in passive. So as the first one, instead of saying we couldn't go over the bridge because they were repairing it, we don't know who they are, so we would say it was being repaired. You see that the tense here is present continuous. That's why we have the magic word being. We should also add being for all these sentences below. So the helping verbs, the auxiliary verbs, will be either was or were. Start with the second sentence. We couldn't use the swimming pool because they were cleaning it. I can simply say it was being cleaned. We don't know who they are, so I would say it was being cleaned. I woke up because someone was calling me. I would say I was being called. You see that every me by the end of the sentence becomes I in the beginning because now it's in a subject position. Number four, the traffic had to go through the town while they were building the bridge. I can say the bridge was being built. Five, you didn't look nervous during the performance even though everyone was watching you. You were being watched by everyone, simply. Finally, my brother didn't realize that the cat was following him. So I would say he was being followed by the cat. You can add by the cat or you can just ignore it. Moving on to exercise 5 in the same page, page 87. This exercise is related to quantifiers. So to start with the first one, it's a bar of chocolate. 2 is a loaf of bread. 3 is a slice of cheese. 4, it's a cartoon or box of eggs. And 5, it's a packet or a bag of rice. Both can be right. 6, it's a bunch of grapes. 7, it's a box of tissues. 8, it's a jar of honey. Then you have 9, a bottle of water, of course. And the final one, a can of cola. So for page 102, the last two units being reviewed here, unit 11 and 12, we would start with the first exercise, vocabulary 1. It's personality adjectives. Remember here, we would listen to some descriptions and we would know the adjective. So for the first one, someone who likes exploring new places and doing new things is adventurous, of course. For number 2, avoids danger and doesn't take risk is a cautious person. These are antonyms, of course. Number 3 is good. Someone is good at making decisions quickly is decisive. 4, makes friends easily is sociable. And 5, we would say it's a generous. So gives money or time to help people is generous. For 6 to 10, doesn't cheat or tell lies is honest. Doesn't depend on other people for help and likes doing things in their own way is independent. 8, doesn't like talking about themselves, their success, or their abilities is modest. 9, has a negative view of the future is pessimistic. And for 10, gets angry very easily is quick-tempered. This exercise is the same as the previous one, however, this one is about jobs. So the first one is a dentist look after your teeth. 2, an optician looks after your eyes and decides if you need glasses. 3, a doctor looks after your general health. 4, a waiter or waitress takes your order and brings your food in a restaurant. 5, a car mechanic repairs cars at the garage. 6, a carpenter makes things from wood. 7, a plumber repairs water pipes. 8, A receptionist works in a hotel or an office and greets people when they arrive. 9 and 10, firefighter and driving instructor. We've studied previously that some prepositions come after verbs. This is one of their jobs. So, in this exercise, we have a text and we have two blanks for each one. The first one is for the verb and the second one is for the preposition. So, to start the text, I'm learning English, Spanish, and Arabic. I'm interested in going to other countries and perhaps working abroad one day. I'm quite good at learning new vocabulary and I've got a good memory. I'm aware of the importance of language in the modern world. At first, Arabic was difficult for me because I had to learn the alphabet, but it's fine now. Understanding the culture of other countries is very important to me. I get annoyed with people who aren't interested in finding out about other parts of the world. For exercise 4, we're going to write nouns from the adjectives given. So the answers are given directly. Generous becomes generosity, modest becomes modesty, we have patient becomes patience, arrogant becomes arrogance, independent, independence, kind, kindness, shy, shyness, optimistic is optimism. Finally, we have enthusiastic becomes enthusiasm. In a similar way here, we're going to write nouns from these adjectives given between brackets. So for the first one, Iago and Shakespeare's play, Othello, called jealousy the green-eyed monster. So jealousy here. Number 2. Dash is an important aspect of friendship. It's loyalty. 3. Although he was sometimes afraid, he never showed his fear. This is the noun of afraid. 4. It's good to have ambition. It's good to aim high. 5. She showed great bravery. 6. Greed has driven the world crazy, said the American singer Nina Simon. For exercise 5, I'm sure that you all remember suffixes. But for the ones who don't, suffixes are the small parts, the morphemes that we put by the end of each word to change the part of speech or to change the meaning sometimes. So here we're given some of these suffixes and we have to put them for the sentences. I already made the suffixes in the solution in red color so that they're as clear as possible. So to start, we have journalist, manager, pharmacist, electrician, designer. You have all the answers here and you can simply copy them. Exercise 7 in page 103 is writing some ing verbs. You see that here several answers can be right. So here I just gave example answers. So for the first one we can say I didn't feel like going to the concert. So going can be used and many other verbs also can be used. 2. You can improve your balance by standing on one leg. Other people can find other verbs to write here. So you can write your own words or you can copy the answers for this exercise. The last exercise is about writing some future continuous verbs. So here, the only thing that I need to remind you of is future continuous is about will plus be. Then you have the ing form. So you see all the answers will be we will be flying, we'll be staying, we'll be going on. But remember also that the abbreviation or the contraction of will is double L with, of course, an apostrophe before them. Never forget about that. You can copy also the answers for this exercise. Before we finish, I need to tell you this time that you are required to put your names in the comments section so that we know who is watching these lessons. Thank you so much for watching and for listening.